Supporters of John Gomes celebrating his successful lawsuit as a judge orders a new Democratic primary in the race for Bridgeport mayor.
We will not stand quiet. They violated our civil rights, and we stood and we said we will not accept that. And we spoke clear and we spoke united. And today we are victorious.
Superior Court Judge William Clark calling surveillance video shocking. He found there was proof partisans had placed absentee ballots in drop boxes and determined with so many mishandled ballots, it calls the results of the primary election in serious doubt.
If it wasn't right the first time, got to do it again.
Kind of want to vote to make this a better place, and now we have to wait again.
Gomes lost to Mayor Joe Ganim. The judge has given everyone involved 10 days to come up with a plan for a new primary.
It's highly unusual, and really going to the courts tends to be the absolute last tool that could be used in politicos and candidates' toolbox.
Gomes is hopeful another primary is not needed. He's aiming to win the mayor's race in next week's general election and appears on the ballot as an independent.
And I encourage every voter more than ever that today the court has said your voice does matter. And I said to you, do not give up.
And the Secretary of the State releasing a statement saying she is pleased with the judge's decision and her office will work with the other parties to set a new primary date.
Well, looky here. Surveillance of suspicious ballot box drop-offs is forcing a court to overturn an election. I wonder where we've seen concerns like that before, huh? Well, stay tuned because we're going to see the latest on the shock ruling and what it means for election integrity as we head into 2024. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. If you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, with everything going on right now, from wars breaking out around the world to the advent of central bank digital currencies, the radical instability and unpredictability that surrounds us requires that we become very smart with our money. We never know what's really going to happen, and often until it's too late. And so that's why I partnered with the amazing company Goldco, because I know the patriots there are ready to help you and guide you at a time like this. So go ahead and click on that link below right now to get your very own gold and silver kit absolutely free. That's right. This gold and silver kit shows you how to get into precious metals tax-free and penalty-free, even if your money's still in a retirement account like an IRA or 401k. And get this, you may already qualify to get up to $10,000 in free silver. I told you they're patriots just like us, ready to give you any help they can. You've seen the writing on the wall. Don't wait until it's too late. Defend your freedom by clicking on that link below right now and get your free gold and silver kit today. All right, so we got some bombshell news coming out of my own home state of Connecticut. A judge has overturned a primary election in the city of Bridgeport after seeing what he called shocking surveillance footage of multiple people stuffing multiple absentee ballots in outdoor drop boxes. The judge concluded that there was indeed enough evidence of foul play for the primary election to be overturned and has thus ordered the Secretary of State to schedule a new primary election. Now, there's some weird ambiguity here because the general election is set for next Tuesday, and they're going to go through with it even though the judge ordered a new primary. So we'll have to see how that all works itself out. But what's so key here with this judge's decision is that we now have a court that has officially recognized the clear violation of the process known as chain of custody, which is the certified process that tracks the movement of the ballot from the voter to the moment it's actually counted. So it doesn't matter who is actually voted for. Any deviation from that mandated process that tracks the movement of the ballot from the voter to when it's officially counted, any deviation from that legally mandated process renders the vote illegal and invalid. Now, of course, this is exactly what was documented on a mass scale in Dinesh D'Souza's 2000 Mules. The documentary draws from the investigative work of True the Vote founder Catherine Engelbrecht and Greg Phillips. They use what's called geofencing technology, which is basically a technology that, tracks your cell phone. And what they did is they tracked the movement of what are called mules, or the people who pick up ballots at warehouses and the like and deliver the ballots to drop-off boxes. Throughout the film, the tracking technology they acquired is compared with security camera footage at the various drop-off locations. And according to the documentary, they found that these mules were delivering multiple ballots to multiple ballot boxes in different locations. In fact, the film details how one person, one mule, delivered ballots to 28 different ballot drop boxes in Georgia. One person alone went to 28 different drop boxes. And so the conclusion of the film is that were we to discount the estimated number of votes that were illegally delivered, Donald Trump would have won the election easily. But of course, our courts back then wanted nothing to do with enforcing election integrity until 2 years later. 2 years after the 2020 election, the Wisconsin Supreme Court came out and ruled that hundreds of thousands of ballots that were cast in their state were actually illegal. That's right, 2 years after the fact, the Wisconsin Supreme Court banned the use of drop boxes in all future elections from their state because they violated Wisconsin election law. Well, what do you know? In fact, as Slate.com noted in their headline, the ruling in many respects suggested that Biden's 2020 victory was indeed illegitimate, in that he won Wisconsin by barely 20,000 votes. It was a 4-3 vote on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and the ruling basically declared that every single ballot cast by means of drop boxes were in point of fact illegal and therefore basically invalid. So there you go. I mean, the next time you hear the legacy media talking about how the 2020 election was one of the single most pristine elections in the history of humanity, remind them that the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that hundreds of thousands of votes cast in their state were indeed illegal and illegitimate. And so as part of that ruling, the court also ruled that most ballot drop boxes were not allowed in the state and that a voter cannot have someone else return their completed absentee ballot on their behalf. So no more 2,000 mules kind of stuff allowed any longer in Wisconsin. And what happened in Connecticut, the overturning of an election, isn't novel. It's happened before. It actually happened with the 2020 election in the state of Florida. Nearly 20 months after a town councilman was certified the winner of an election in the Florida town of Eatonville, just outside of Orlando, a judge stepped in and ordered that he be removed from office due to the evidence of voter fraud. A judge ruled that Terrace Mack, who was previously sworn into office onto the Eatonville Town Council, the judge ruled he had to vacate his seat and that his challenger, Marlon Daniels, was entitled to it, precisely because the judge determined Daniels would have won were it not for the election fraud. And the parallels in this case, of course, with 2020 were startling. Daniels was ahead on election night, only to find out the next morning that he lost after a number of ballots suddenly surfaced for his opponent. He took it to court, and the judge found that there were serious discrepancies between ballots and actual voters, and as a result, the judge overturned the election and forced the guy who won due to voter fraud to vacate his seat and instead installed the challenger as the rightful winner. So that's another option, right? Instead of ordering another primary election in this case, you can actually just rule to have the opponent that was the victim of cheating just seated. So what sense should we make of all this? Well, as frustrating as all of this is, given that it appears you have to be a Democrat in order for our corrupt courts to step in and do anything, the good news is that these examples of legal intervention are having an impact. The very fact that the same corrupt court system has been weaponized to try to take President Trump out is itself testimony that they don't think they can pull off another 2020. Too much attention is being paid to election integrity by too many different factions, that there's no confidence at all that they can pull off another win for bumbling Biden like they did the last time. So again, as frustrating as all of this might be, ironically, the system that our founding fathers gave us seems to be working itself out to restore at least some semblance of election integrity in our nation right before 2024. Hey gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.